really excited to be here today because what we're going to be talking about in this segment of the presentation is something that I'm very, very passionate to share with everybody. And I think most of us already know. We're made up mostly of water, right? You do know that. Our bodies, we're made up mostly of water. So what I always ask people is, if you know that, then wouldn't it make sense that the kind of water, the quality of water, the properties of the water that you're putting into your body would in fact have an impact on your overall health? Of course. And that's really the basis for consuming this water. So by the time I finish doing this demonstration and educating a little bit more about how this ionizer works, the demonstration of the properties of the water, you're going to realize why it is that owning an HQO water ionizer is a necessity, not a luxury. If you care about your health and if you care about your family's health, it really is a necessity. So a little bit first about the machine itself, and then I'll go into the demonstration. This is an HQO water ionizer. It's not plugged in, so you're not going to see a lot of the panels that light up and whatnot, but I do want to give you just a quick overview. So an ionizer basically does one thing. It ionizes the water. Now what is that? For people who are not familiar with the technology, we all know that water is H2O. It's an H2O molecule. But what an ionizer does is it restructures those H2O molecules, and it creates different levels of pH water. pH means potential hydrogen or potential for hydrogen. And so when the pH changes, so do the properties of the water. Now, they're all wet, because water is wet, so it's all going to be wet. But the properties of the water at the different pH levels will begin to change. And when you understand this concept, you'll see why it is that there are specific uses to the waters based on the level of pH. Now, the pH scale is from 0 to 14. 7.0 is what we call neutral. Anything less than 7.0 is what we call acid pH. Anything greater than 7.0 is what we call alkaline pH. So the way the HQO water ionizer works is that you're actually going to have a hose that connects it directly to your water source, and in most cases you'll be having it attached to your faucet. And there's a diverter, so that when you don't want to use the machine, you have the diverter set one way, and when you do want to use the ionizer, you just pull this little plug and the water diverts into the ionizer. When that water comes, and it's cold water, you can only use cold water, but when it comes into the ionizer, the first thing that's going to happen is that it will go through a filtration. This is key. This is one of the key points, because the quality of the ionized water, the ability for it to be ionized completely, one of the factors is the filtration. Meaning, how much of the pollutants and contaminants from the source water can we remove before putting it through the ionizing process? We have the absolute best filtration. We have a two-stage filtration that's built into the HQO in here. And you will change it out every 1,000 gallons. The machine will tell you, it'll start a countdown, like 500 gallons to go, 250, and it'll just keep counting down, so you know that you need to order new filters. Now, how long is that going to last? I don't know, because I don't know how much water you're going to use every day. But you figure it out, 1,000 gallons, that's a lot of water. We've discovered that for most people, you'll probably be changing the filter out every 9 to 10 months, somewhere in that range. So that kind of gives you an idea. Once the water is filtered, now it's going to go through that ionization process. So the first factor in terms of affecting the ionization is the filtration. The second are the plates, meaning these plates that the water will come in contact with and flow through. How large are those plates? What kind of material is being used? Are they solid plates? Are they mesh plates? Whatever. In the HQO, we have 2 sets of 7 platinum-coated titanium plates. So we have 2 cartridges for a total of 14 plates. Now, why do we have 2 cartridges? Okay, so the first cartridge, well, one cartridge is where the water passes when we want to create the high alkaline water and the strong acid water. Because to be able to create that, the HQO needs to pull a saline solution that you'll also have with clear instructions how to just mix salt and water and then put the cartridge back into your machine. The second set of 7 plates is to make all the other waters. So there's never any cross-contamination. That helps in terms of overall maintenance and the longevity of your machine, because this machine is designed to literally last you at least 20 years with proper care. Okay? And even beyond that, once you can change out plates or whatever, you can pretty much make it last for a long, long time. So once again, having 2 of these cartridges and having it the size that we have in here, and based on the 7 years that I marketed water ionizers in the past, I can tell you we knew exactly what was needed to make this the absolute best water ionizer on the market. We really did. And I will explain that more later, especially for those of you that want to stay and want to get additional training, because you want to take advantage of that. I want to take advantage of it while I'm here so that I can answer, because I know there are a lot of questions. And what I tell people, especially if you're just getting introduced to this technology for the first time, just be prepared. Be prepared that there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, and it's okay. But there are ways to simplify the anxiety, to kind of minimize the anxiety, to simplify that whole learning period, and to be able to still accomplish what you need to accomplish in sharing the technology and in growing your Q Sciences business. Okay? So we have the absolute best. Filtration and plates. The third factor is the electrical power. Because once the water comes in contact with those plates, we've got to zap those plates with electricity so that it now starts to ionize or separate, restructure those water molecules. We have 375 watts of electricity, which is about about 140 watts more than the one that I knew previously had the most. And that's important because you're asking your HQO water ionizer to perform a function that really requires that much power. Imagine if you have a vehicle, if you have a 4-cylinder vehicle and you're trying to pull a boat uphill. Wouldn't it be a lot easier if you had 8 cylinders? Okay. And that's basically what you're doing with your HQO, is having it so that it doesn't burn out, that it can continue to function. So those 3 factors. Here's the 4th factor that will also determine the quality of the ionization of the water, and that is the flow of the water as it goes through the machine and comes out. There are some machines that if you turn your faucet higher, it can flow faster. But just because you can, it doesn't mean you should, right? I always tell people in Vegas, all you can eat buffet, right? Just because you can eat all you want doesn't mean you should, right? And so that's the same thing with this. So we put a flow control. This will make about 3/4 to 1 gallon of water per minute. And we intentionally put that flow control because you need to have enough time for that water to be in contact with the plates so that it gets ionized. Okay. Now, the water will be dispensed in 2 hoses simultaneously. This top flexible hose, and you have this bottom secondary hose. Now, the pH scale is 0 to 14. Now, here's how it works. Whatever level of pH is coming out of one hose, you subtract that from 14, and the difference is coming out of the other. Does that make sense? Right? So if I've got 9.0 pH coming out of the top hose, then 5.0 is coming out of the bottom. Because when you add the two, it needs to equal 14. So it really is that simple. Every day, before you do anything, turn on your HQO, and there is a button that says clean. Press that button, let it run for a minute. You can catch the water, from both hoses if you want to, and you can use that water for different things because it's just water, but it's not really drinking water. And but what that will do is help prevent the buildup of calcium on the plates. So you want to make sure you're doing that every single day.
How long?
A minute. Just let it run for a minute. Okay. Then the display screen will have different choices. So now it's just a matter of what water do you want to dispense. You're going to have the HQO. That's your drinking water. There are 4 levels. Level 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So what we're going to do is we are going to test the drinking water part of the demonstration. We don't give you specific pH levels because the pH level of what comes out of here is dependent on the pH level of your source water. And sometimes when your source water is from a well, it tends to be more acidic, whereas the city water tends to be more alkaline. So of course, when it goes through here, it's gonna vary. So we don't want to tell you that you're getting 9.0 or 9.5 because we don't know. But what we do know is that level 2 is a higher pH than level 1. Level 3 is higher than 1 and 2. And level 4 is the highest. And if you have never really been drinking alkaline water or been on these alkaline diets or anything like that, I just suggest you probably want to start on 1 or 2 for a couple weeks, kind of get used to this whole alkalizing process, and then work your way up. Here's the good news. It's not a race. It's not a race to the finish line. So even if it takes you a while to get up, you'll feel it. You'll start to feel different things. And just keep drinking it, and pretty soon you're going to crave it. You're going to notice the difference so much that you're going to want to, you're not going to be wanting to be without this. Okay. So the HQO is your drinking water. Then there's another setting, another button that will say filtered. What that is, it's just filtered water. It is not ionized. So it's just going through the filtration and coming out of the hose. What is the pH of that water? Same pH as your source water. And that's what's going to be coming out. Then there's a beautify water. Beautify should be slightly acidic. So what you're going to learn as you begin to get educated about this technology is that inside of our bodies, we want to be putting alkaline water. We want to be drinking alkaline water, eating alkaline foods. But outside, our skin wants acid pH. The perfect pH of our skin is really somewhere between 5.5 to 6.5 pH. And so if you get into the habit of using the Beautify water to wash your face, for skin care, if you're outdoors a lot, especially for a lot of golfers, you get a lot of sun damage, things like that, and start spraying this, you're going to see the signs of the damage to start diminishing. You're going to see the signs of aging begin to diminish because you're bringing your skin back to its proper pH. And the more you do that, the healthier looking skin you'll have, the more youthful looking skin that you'll be able to maintain. I'm 97 and nobody ever guesses that. Okay? Now, and by the way, when you press Beautify, you're getting that slightly acidic water from the top hose. So if your HQO, when you press Beautify, is giving you 6.0 pH, what is the bottom hose generating? 8. Yes, because they need to total 14. Okay, so it's conceptually, if you just get these simple things, it's really very easy to operate. Then there's another button that will say strong. That is when the water now goes through the other cartridge, the other chamber, the other set of 7 platinum coated titanium plates. Shift over from this to the other one. That's when your HQO will now start to pull some of that saline solution to create what we call the high alkaline water and the strong acid water. Alkaline water, the high alkaline, will always come out of the top hose, and the strong acid water will always come out of the bottom hose. Now, I'm going to demonstrate some of the properties of what happens to the water when it gets to that level of alkalinity and what you want to use it for. So the high alkaline water, usually if the water can get to at least about 11.3 or higher, it has these amazing cleaning properties. It's like a detergent water. I'm going to demonstrate that today, cleaning these tomatoes, what starts to happen. You can replace so many of your cleaning products. It's a degreaser. You know, when it gets to that level, it will break down oil and grease. So it has replaced 409 for me. It's replaced Windex. We use it. I have white leather sofas and anybody that's got white furniture, you know how quickly it gets dirty. And I just spray that right on there, let it for 2 minutes, go get a towel, wipe it off, and it's clean. Especially in homes where you have family members that have sensitivities to chemicals, you want to really understand the uses of the high alkaline and the strong acid water, because you can get rid of a lot of these chemical cleaners, these chemical products, the toxic, the toxicity that's affecting the environment inside of our homes. If you've ever heard of carpet cleaning services that are chemical free, what they're using is this high alkaline water. And you're going to see it replaces laundry detergent. So if you're washing your clothes, you just do your, turn on the washer like you normally would, and then but instead of adding soap, you would add the water. And you can add as much as you want, because it's not going to, there's not going to be suds coming out of your washer, none of that. So add whatever you want, but you're going to see over time that your clothes are, once again, they're just getting cleaner and cleaner all the time that you're using it, and it's removing a lot of the residue of those chemical cleaners. The strong acid water. When the water reaches about a 2.7 pH or lower, it now has the ability to disinfect and sanitize. And this is without chemicals. And we've got all the tests. I mean, everything that I'm sharing with you here, we didn't discover it. It's already been documented, researched, tested for decades. The information is already out there. We've just compacted it into this little box so that you can take this home and be able to create all these different waters. But imagine a strong acid water that will kill E. coli and salmonella and MRSA and gingivitis and staph and strep. Water that, if you know people that have severe cases of eczema or psoriasis or dermatitis, people who need wound care, diabetics with, the diabetic ulcers that can never heal, this water is what they should be using. And they'll see tremendous benefits. And that's the strong acid water. So once again, between the high alkaline and the strong acid water, you can pretty much get rid of those toxic cleaners in your home. So as you begin to use this and become familiar with the waters, you're going to know how to start using them, when to use them, what you can begin to eliminate, and over time, you're going to be amazed at the changes that you can make that will benefit your health and your family's health. So let's go over here to the demonstration. So I hope that was pretty clear on the ionizer itself. And I always tell people, once again, just be comfortable knowing that the longer you have it, the more that you use it, the more you're going to understand it and the more comfortable you'll be. But make it easy on yourself. And I tell people 3 things. 1, whatever water you're drinking now, if you don't have an HQO water ionizer, whatever water you're drinking now, whether it's tap water, bottled water, however much you're drinking of it, when do you drink it, whatever. All you need to do is just replace it with HQO water. That's it. That's number 1. Number 2, get off of the soft drinks and energy drinks, these sports drinks. And you're going to see why in just a minute. Number 3, if you want to start feeling the real benefits of what this water can do for you, drink at least half your body weight in ounces every single day. Work your way up to that. So those are the 3 things that I always tell people getting started. Make it simple. And then as you begin to feel the difference, as you begin to notice the difference, as you begin to understand it more, you're going to just be more comfortable, and you're going to know what else to do as you continue to enjoy the benefits. So let's do the demonstration here. These are beverages that maybe some of you were drinking before. Maybe some of you are still drinking it until tonight. After tonight, well, you know, I guess personal choice. This is a sports drink, Gatorade. Now, with the soda, we use either Sprite or 7-Up for our demonstrations because we need to have clear colored liquids so that you can see the actual colors changing. This is our sparkling Perrier water. Smart water. We're going to see how smart this is. Okay. But it's a very popular brand. It's one of the designer brand waters, as we call them. Aquafina, a very popular bottled water brand. And Dasani. Slip. Okay. Now, this is tap water. Just got it right out of the faucet. Okay. And this is our HQO water. What I'm going to do, first thing that I'm going to measure, because there are properties of this water that when you begin to, once again, understand it, you're going to know how it's benefiting you when you're drinking it. I have a couple meters here that have been a little temperamental today, so we'll see if it cooperates. So the first thing that I'm going to measure is the antioxidant level of these liquids. Anybody ever take antioxidant supplements? Anybody besides me? Oh gosh, okay. So here's oxidation is one of the major causes of illness and disease. Oxidation, especially from stress. If you're experiencing a lot of stress, whether it's emotional, physical, financial, whatever, you're damaging a lot of cells internally. Free radicals are damaging our healthy cells. And so the way to neutralize these free radicals is through antioxidants. This is the ultimate antioxidant substance. And so what I'm going to measure now is whether or not these liquids are oxidizing, meaning it's breaking down, damaging our cells. Is it rusting? Is it aging us, right? Or is it an antioxidant? The way I do that is I'm going to put this little probe in each one, and it's going to show me a number. my ORP meter, ORP stands for oxidation reduction potential, has been a little temperamental because I used it a lot this last week. But if it shows a positive number, that means it's oxidizing. Can anybody see that? Is it a positive number?
Yeah.
Okay.
700.
Yeah, so it's about a 700. Don't pay too much attention to the exact numbers, but it's more important to see kind of whether it's higher, lower, positive, or negative. What is that one?
605.
Okay, so that's the Gatorade. Okay, here's our Perrier.
497.
Okay, so it's not as oxidizing as the soda and Gatorade, but it's still a positive number. Here's Smart Water. How smart is it? Still oxidizing, right? Because it's a positive number. Here's the Aquafina.
520.
Okay, so it's still oxidizing. Here's our Dasani water.
547.
Okay. Tap water. Can you guys see that? 475, okay. Okay, now before I put it in there, let me just clean it off real quick of all of those because of it being so temperamental. Okay, here's our HQO water. What does that say?
Negative 120.
So it's still going up, but it's a negative, right? It's getting stronger negative. Okay, so if I keep that in there long enough, it's going to reach about negative 400, negative 500, but we don't want to stay here until 3 o'clock today.
The
So
others were plus?
Pardon?
The others were plus?
the others were pluses, yes. So what does that mean? That means that if you're drinking these beverages, you're adding to that oxidation. So the damage that's already being caused by our lifestyle, by our environment, by our diets, whatever, the damage to our cells, we're adding to it when we drink these oxidizing liquids. In order to neutralize that, we want an antioxidant. And that's what this has. And I can tell you, for anybody who's listened to any of our doctor calls, Dr. Peggy Parker is one of the doctors that we have on that call. And she has more sophisticated testing, instruments and things, equipment. And she tested this water for us. And she said that all her tests concluded that the HQO water contains at least 3 times more hydrogen than the waters that are produced by any other water ionizer on the market. That active hydrogen is what determines the level of antioxidation, of antioxidants that are in our water. Okay, so that is very important. In fact, that is the most important property of the water. Now, the next property that I'm going to test is the pH. This is the pH scale in colors. 7.0 is right here in the middle. This is acid pH. So people who have a lot of illness and disease and cancer, they're over here in the acid side. So we want to stay away from that. This is illness, disease. Over here, death, okay? We want to be over here on the alkaline side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the pH drops in each of these liquids, and let's just see how they match up with the colors. Okay, there's Sprite, Gatorade, Perrier, Smart Water, Aquafina, Dasani, Tap Water, HQO. I think we pretty much knew that. Sometimes people who want to keep drinking it want to be in denial, but guess what? There it is. Okay. Your sports drinks, energy drinks. This is a level of acidity. This is our sparkling water, Perrier. Smart water, not so smart after all, right? First it oxidizes and now it's acid pH. Sometimes I've tested smart water where it's struggling to get to neutral, but it's for the most part acid. Here's Aquafina, Dasani, tap water. So tap water is more on the slightly alkaline side. But I want to talk a little bit about this, because first of all, with these bottled waters, whether they test acid, neutral, or slightly alkaline, they are still in plastic bottles that are loaded with toxins that are leaching into the water, and when you drink the water, it's going into your bodies. A lot of hormone disruptors. That's why if you do enough research, it's already out there talking about the harmful effects of bottled waters. There's not a whole lot of regulation around bottled waters, first of all. And second of all, whether you leave it in a hot car or not, by the time you buy it off the store shelves, it's already gone through all the temperature changes that has caused the toxins from the plastic to go into the water. So, not to mention, what are people doing with these plastic bottles? Ruining the environment, right? So it's all the way around, it's just not a good thing. Municipalities are mandated to alkalize the water. So most of the time, tap water is usually on the slight alkaline side. Sometimes, depending on what day, what time of the day, it can be a little more alkaline because they just added the chemicals. They're mandated to add chemicals to the already polluted, contaminated, toxic city waters to alkalize it, because if they don't, it's going to ruin the pipes. By the way, they're concerned about their pipes, not ours, okay? So, and here is our HQO water. It's alkaline because it's been ionized, because it's been restructured, not because anything has been added to it. So it's taken your tap water, your source water, filtered all the pollutants and contaminants and toxins out of it, and then ionized it to create an alkaline antioxidant water. Now, somebody was asking me earlier, they said, are you really into like eating everything healthy and doing everything healthy? And I looked at her and I said, no. I said, but I drink a lot of water, hoping that it's going to at least minimize some of the damage. So if you're drinking HQO, you might see some changes, right? As you can see here. I'll come back to the Perrier in a minute. Let's go to the Sprite. Okay, I'm not going to waste the water because it's not going to turn any, it's going to remain acidic. But watch the Perrier. It's going to try to alkalize. Can you see it? But didn't succeed. It tries, but no. Okay, that's a Perrier. Now, why do I tell people get off of sodas and sports drinks? Because they are so acidic. Now this has already been diluted with HQO alkaline water, right? And people go, but I'm just going to take a little sip. Will that hurt? And they're taking sips of sodas or energy drinks that are not diluted. This is why I tell people, once you start drinking this, please get off of these. Because the sodas and sports drinks, these energy drinks, are some of the worst things that you could be putting in your body. Unless of course, well that's all part of it. But, you know, unless of course, you know, people that like being in pain and being sick. But I think most people, they want to be healthy, and so we want to help them stay healthy, drinking the right water. Okay? So that's the pH test. Now, let's go into the next part of the demonstration. So at least now you know, for anybody buying designer waters, that the only smart thing that they did was naming it Smart Water. It's their marketing, right? I mean, let's face it. People that drink Smart Water think they're gonna be what?
Smart.
See? Okay. Let's do a little test with our tea. So when we ionize the water and increase the pH, making it an alkaline pH, we're basically reducing the surface tension of the water, which means if you look at water, if I were to take a drop of water, it's not just one H2O molecule. It's a cluster of H2O molecules. So when we ionize it, we're making those clusters smaller. And what it does is it starts to reduce the surface tension of the water, allowing absorption to happen immediately. Now, this is just green tea. So I'm gonna kind of show you this demonstration, first of all, with tap water that we're gonna add it to that tea bag. Now usually if we're gonna make tea at home, we have to boil the water, right? Then we can make tea. Can anybody see if there's tea in that right now? No tea. Now, let's use the HQO water. And what happened? Can everybody see that? You immediately got tea. Now, how many of you are sitting there going, yeah, but that's because the tea bag was already wet? Okay, so let's go back to the tap water and a wet tea bag. Add that water. Did it make tea? No, just like the first glass, right? I know you're saying, that's because you made that one over there. Okay, so let's go back to that ionized water. Did we make tea again? Okay, so imagine now that you're drinking this water and you're able to actually absorb it at a cellular level, meaning it's able to permeate the cell membranes, giving you hydration at a cellular level. This is especially one of the reasons why, like, professional athletes love this water, because they experience recovery a lot faster. They tend to have more endurance, more strength, right? Because they're getting hydration at a cellular level. This is also the reason why when you take your other Q Sciences products, when you're taking them, it increases the bioavailability of whatever you take. So now you're getting even more of it, getting it at a cellular level. Let's go over here, and what we're going to do, I'm going to test now the high alkaline water. Remember, when you push strong, the top hose produces high alkaline water, the bottom hose produces strong acid water. So I'm trying to get the same number of tomatoes in each one, because we're going to have some of you, actually we might have enough for everybody. Okay, when you buy fruits and vegetables at the store and you bring them home, how do you clean your fruits and vegetables? Most people.
Tap water.
Yep, they use tap water. So let's just use some tap water to clean those tomatoes. And what we're suggesting is, to really clean it, is to use the high alkaline water made from your HQO. And we'll see the difference in just a minute. But I want to show you what actually happens. This is oil. And I'm just going to put some oil in each of these cups. Is that about the same amount? Close? Okay, so if I were to take tap water and add it to oil, what would happen? It separates because oil and water don't mix, right? So you can clearly see how the oil just came and sat on the top. Even if I mix it around, whatever, it's still just going to stay separate because oil and water don't mix. What if I take the high alkaline HQO water? Do you see a difference? Because it's breaking down that oil. Can you see the difference? What it looks like? Okay. Now I can put this away and by tomorrow it'll emulsify that even more to where it looks even creamier. That's why this water can replace 409. If anybody has problems cleaning, grease off your stove tops and the fan, countertops, things like that, use this water. Just spray it on there, leave it on for a couple minutes, get a paper towel, wipe it off, you're done. No streaks and no more oil. And no chemical residue. That's the best part. The significance of that as far as cleaning our fruits and vegetables. How many of you know that a lot of the pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, all the things that they're putting on our produce, for the most part, are oil-based? They are. Okay? So when we wash it with tap water, just like in that demonstration where oil and water didn't mix, we don't get it off. Can anybody see the difference? All right, with the waters. Washing it with the high alkaline is going to clean it off. Tap water, high alkaline water. This is not a urine sample. I know, it looks like it.
Where did Dave go?
Okay, now, if anybody would like to taste the difference, we'll pass it around, okay? So this is HQO, this is tap water. What you want to do is take one of these first. Now the same people that take this, please take this. Okay, it has to be the same people. Okay. So I'll just pass it here. This is the HQO, so if you want one, take one and then pass it on. Then take one of these. If you take one of those, take one of these, please, so you can sample the difference. Okay. Now,
You need to.
yes. So that pretty much completes the demonstration of the properties of the water. There's so much more to it, but to get started, if you understand that illness and disease, first of all, cannot survive in an alkaline environment, but it will thrive in an acidic environment. We want to start creating an environment inside of our bodies where we can maintain the best of health. And drinking your HQO water is going to help us do that. And it's great for our pets, it's great for plants, there's so many uses. And the longer you have your HQO, the more you're going to experience the benefits. You want a cleaner, less toxic environment inside of your homes, you need to have this. And start replacing a lot of those chemical cleaners that you have that's causing pollution in the air inside of your homes. And if you really do due diligence and research, you are going to find out that everything that I have shared here is the reason why owning an HQO water ionizer is a necessity and not a luxury. If you care about your health, your family's health, your pet's health. So with that, I want to thank you, and I'll be around to answer any questions.
Thank you.